is here. Your size line is here. Take your tape measure and crawl it down. And when you get done, take away the seam allowance. You have a waistband here and the other pattern piece here. All right? Say you got an inch difference in your finished crotch measurement, your back crotch measurement, your finished garment measurement. You have an inch difference and you need more. Okay, you're gonna slash and spread. It's easy. All right, so Carol was talking about not taking too much in one place. Sometimes you need 3 inches. We're not gonna distort the pattern 3 inches. We're gonna put an inch and a half in one place, inch and a half in another. I've had a customer that had like 4.5 inches. So I took some here, and then I took it here and took it down the leg. And open it up there. Okay, so what this, all right, remember that's a half hip. All right, so you need an inch more in the crotch measurement. Okay? There's your, you're gonna splice it here, hinge it right here. Don't go any further, just hinge it. All right, and then it gets raised up. Let's say that's an inch. It gets raised up. All right, and then what happens is it gets raised up, but this is what the finish is gonna look like. Okay. All right. I took that inch. You take away. You gotta put it somewhere. Right? So your pattern looks like that now. Now you remeasure it and make sure it's right. Okay. Now you have more, and you drafted a trouser. Right, and you have more than, you have more crotch measurement on the pattern. It can look like this. Okay. Your pattern can look like this. It looks crazy.
I remember when I did mine and my hip looked like that. It went
straight parallel here. And that's what jeans look like on
out the bottom.
Right. Okay. So when you go to once you made your full butt adjustment and your pants look like that, so when you sew the back, the crotch together in the back, you still have that peak.
It's gonna come up like this and fit at your waist.
Your butt is gonna take that space up. That
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
So it won't curve.
Your waistline.
I had a customer. Right, but when you sew those
It is gonna be
together,
straight because the butt is gonna take all of this room, and
this
this is gonna sit on your
I
waist.
think what she's saying off the body.
Yeah.
I had
Just looking at it.
Yeah, just looking at it, it's gonna look like that.
Okay.
It's just like when you buy jeans and it looks perfect, but you put them on and it ride down, you can see your butt, you see your butt crack.
You need more, you
When
need
do
this
that,
room.
You need to put it on your body, it's gonna be perfect.
I understand that when I sew that crotch, the back crotches together, and I got it's flat.
Yeah.
That it's gonna have a peak.
Well, it shouldn't have that little point like that.
Right.
You should true it up and make sure.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but do it after you try them on.
Okay, that's
Okay,
all.
that's a good point. Yeah. Do it after.
Now what do you do?
Okay, so January is January, y'all. This is what we're doing.
Oh.
Okay, we make jeans all January.
What do you do with the dart? Like, do you reshape that dart once you have to make that peak like that?
The dart is always parallel with the waistline. So if the waistline is always straight, regardless of where it is, and the darts are always parallel with the waistline. So they come down also. Does that answer your question?
So you don't shape the darts are not parallel to the grain line, like the center back seam. So if it curves, it curves.
It's not gonna.
I mean,
look
not curved, but if it peaks, the darts peak with it.
because it has to go with the waist.
It goes with the
Gotcha.
form of the body.
Gotcha.
So I had a customer who was 30 inches. Her hips were like almost 50. It was a drastic difference between her top. She had a small frame, small shoulders, small bust. She had huge hips. She had a show, a big butt. So I had to do a hem for her. She had a knit dress, needed to be hemmed. I had her put the dress on, and I had a hem blower. So I had her turn while I did the hem blower. And when I took the dress off of her and cut where the hem blow lines were, there was a huge smile on the back. Huge. So when she came to pick the dress up, she was like, "What's wrong with this?"
Put it
I said, "Go put it on." And when she put it on, the hem was perfect. It was parallel to the floor. I said, "That's all the donk you got back there." Whoop. So what happens is when you make these curves and these feet, when you put it on, now it fits all of your curves and dents and peaks and everything. And we have all this room here, which makes everything nice and comfortable. Both of your legs are, your hems are level, but now it fits in this area. So the first time I did my own pattern, when I finally, the light went on about drafting a pattern, I have middle. I'm short, but I don't have this hourglass. I held my pattern up to look like a box. I'm like, who's gonna get in this square? You know, I want it to be her. You know, but when I put it on, I was like, okay, this works. So I am a square. I have, whenever I make an adjustment, I always add to the side that little curve in the pattern. I'll put some paper right in it. Because I'm not that girl. So it's about what your body is when you're taking these measurements and you're making these blocks and you're making your clothes. You make them, you make small tweaks, you put them on, and they fit. When people compliment you about your clothes, it's not the style per se, it's how it fits.
Right.
That's the first thing that they notice. You know, if you got on a Gucci suit, but if the sleeves are too long and the pants are dragging the floor, they're gonna be like, spending all that money for that jacket. Right.
I had a customer that's sewed, and she asked me to do her slope report. She didn't want to learn. I said, okay, fine. A friend of mine who, you know, I did it. She got it back in. She opened up, I did it, and I mailed it to her. Okay, she opened it up and looked at it, and she didn't trust it. I'm only 5 feet tall. Why this pattern is 42 inches or something like that? And it's just, I said, those are your measurements. Just make the muscle and put it on. I told her 5 times. She never did it. I said, okay. You gotta trust it. Trust the numbers. They're your numbers. Do it. See what happens. Make a new adjustment, use your numbers. So trust the numbers, because that's the business we're in. If it's your hobby, okay, that's the business you're in. You work with numbers. We are not mathematicians, we are geometrists. Well, you recovered.
I failed.
Fabric geometrist.
One more tip without Professor Curl. Another tip that Professor Curl showed us, before we get off these patterns, because this is helpful. When we making those adjustments as far as lengthening, for us to have to lengthen. Before you lengthen it, because sometimes, like you said, if you need more than 2 inches, make sure that you make your grain line on that pattern piece all the way long. To make sure that when you going to line those up again, to prevent destroying your pattern, when you start lining it back up, you make sure that your grain line matches all the way down, and you know when you start bringing everything together, it's gonna all fall back in place. Because I've done it a couple of times, I forgot to make sure that grain line is straight. So when you putting it back, if it's not straight, then you're gonna have some crookedness. But when you got that grain line going all the way down your pattern, you have something to continue to line your pattern pieces up when you putting it back together.
Great point.
Great. So here's the last thing on the trouser. We always get when the butt pulls all the fabric, it pulls down in the front, right? You got that little puddle right there. So because it's pulling and it's pulling down on the front, so the fabric comes down. All right, you keep it up because it snaps and you might have a belt on or whatever. So if you are adding fabric to the back, and this happens in jeans, you're adding fabric to the back, you're giving it what it wants, check your front measurement. You may have to take it away. Okay, so check that front measurement and same thing, slash and spread. On jeans, I do not recommend taking the adjustment in the zipper area. Sometimes depending on your size and if it's a 9-inch zipper or whatever. So I take the front adjustment right below it, right there. So it just, it comes down, true up the curve and you're good. But it'll affect, one thing most times affects something else. So you'll have the right amount in the front, use your measurement, you have the right amount in the front and the correct amount in the back.
Right below the zipper, out there on these internets, I saw somebody laying in their pants and the zipper was this long.